Hi guys, how are you doing today? Happy New Year! All the sorts. I know guys, I didn't do so well here. I had promised that I am going to be sharing with you my IVF journey, but somehow guys, last year, things happened and I end up forgetting. English is not my first language, so please forgive me. But now I'm back. So I just want to, I don't even know where to start, but I'm just going to start anyway, right? So let me just give you an overview of what IVF is, right? So IVF is a process where you, so if for example you do have IVF for different reasons, let's say maybe you're trying for a child and it's taking too long, and then you decide, you know what, let me opt for other route for me to actually have a child, or maybe due to some complicated medical reasons. For some people it will be maybe that the husband does not is not potent, as in they are not unable to naturally conceive, or if it's the wife, maybe you've got fibroids, they're struggling with fibroids and it's taking time for you to conceive, then you can decide to go for IVF. So there's two things, there's IUI and IVF. So IUI is intrauterine insemination, so it's different and it's cheaper than IVF. IVF is expensive, more expensive, because in IVF what they do is that they take they take your egg, they take your husband's sperm, and they fertilize, and after fertilizing then they actually implant it into your uterus, and then they transfer it to your uterus, and then you wait for the time until it implants, and then boom, it works or it doesn't work. So that's the difference. So in South Africa, if you are in South Africa and you are struggling to, I always tell people, especially for Christians guys, it's not even demonic, to be honest. You need to just pray about it, take your time to pray about it, and if you feel okay and comfortable to do it, you need to explore, all the other options that are there, especially pursue IVF. So for us, we did IVF, and to looking back, and I look at my handsome son and everything, I give glory to God, because at the end of the day guys, every good and perfect gifts come from the Father of lights, in whom there is no variation or shadow of doubt. Everything God that is perfect, it comes from God. Like doctors, they can only do their best, but even in that whole process, they will tell you, this time now you need to believe, you need to have faith. So it goes back again to God. So the fact that maybe you took the IVF route doesn't really mean that you disregarded God or you took things in your own hands. No, I don't believe that, because if God doesn't give you that blessing of a child, you still won't have that child. So in South Africa guys, there are so many facilities that offer IVF. So there are a lot of them really, and some are way expensive, very expensive than others. So the one that we did, I'll share. If you want to have more information, please feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me, I'll share with you the name of that facility. They are not cheap, but at least they are better than the rest. And also, when you're looking at IVF costs in South Africa, how much does IVF cost? Let's start with the whole process, right? So with IVF, you just don't wake up today and say, I want to do IVF, and then you start doing it tomorrow. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, not in Africa. And I understand, when I was going through IVF, I went through a lot of videos, and I understand this is not only for South Africa, and even in the West, you just don't start. Ne? So with IVF, when you agree and you say this is the route that you want to take, first of all, you need to set up an appointment with the fertility clinic. So sometimes it does take months. I know in South Africa, when we did with ours, the one that we used, it took us about 3 months before we could even go in for that consultation. Yeah, trust me, that long, 3 months. For some it can even take up to 6 to 8 months, the appointments. So it's not something that you just decide and you think it's going you're going to kick it off. So after setting up that appointment, you go for the appointment, you have the consultation. In the consultation, you're asked a lot of questions, right, regarding your fertility. How long have you been trying? Do you know why you're not having a child? All these reasons, what CC. Then after that, based on that consultation, they can have recommendations, right, and saying you need to do this, you need to do this. So they do fertility tests. For example, for the husband, they will do like a sperm analysis. For the lady, guys, IVF is so difficult on a woman, because there's a lot of invasive processes that are done, and procedures actually that are done on on you as the lady. So one thing I need to say is that IVF is not something that you just think you want to have. Make sure you are in the right mental space, because it's very tolling. It takes a toll on your emotions, it takes a toll on your spirit, it takes a toll on your body, yeah, especially the body. Let's not even talk about it. And it takes a toll on your wallet. IVF, sometimes I tell people that, you know, when you're doing IVF, can't do it with the budget. Shame. It will really eat into your pocket. And sometimes when you see on the website that they charge, let's say they say we charge 90,000 for IVF, trust me, that's just for the procedure. There are additional costs, like in terms of injections, medications, all that cost. That 90,000 excludes all those other procedures. So sometimes you're looking at least additional 50,000. And with IVF, again, in South Africa, because they don't have risk sharing. So if, for example, you spend 150,000 and then it fails, it doesn't work, if you need to redo, if you need to do it again, you need to pay again the 150,000. But we'll talk about that later, maybe in another video. Today I just want to take you through the process. So you go there and they do the test. Sometimes for the lady, they can refer you for an SCG. So an SCG is whereby they put fluid to just check if you have got blocked uteruses, blocked fallopian tubes. Guys, that one, that one I don't let you, that one you sing hallelujah. One thing I know for sure is that if you hear doctors telling you that this is going to be uncomfortable, they mean you're about to be dead. That's what they say. I remember I screamed my life away. Oh guys, that process is so it's high. It's the worst. But anyways, yeah. So you go through that and they check if your fallopian tubes are not blocked. Then after that, you know, you do that whole, obviously, sonar, you know, like the ultrasound one where they put that and they're using that thing on your womb, or the other one, which is the transvaginal one, where they will put that thing inside you so that they can really have that done. However, for some, it can even go to, if they pick something, right, and they say, okay, so there may be fibroids or what, they want to determine the extent and the how bad it is, they can have that. I don't know, guys, please forgive me, I don't know, is it laparoscopy? I don't know, where they put like a camera, a device with a camera inside your uterus to just check what's happening there. And sometimes a laparoscopy will be combined with a hysteroscopy. So this is whereby they are taking a camera and then they are scraping off like your uterus, the walls of your uterus. So they use like a thingy to scrape off any dirt in your uterus. Sometimes they're just combined because it doesn't make sense to get in with the camera then come out and then you go back again. So they just combined it. Or so sometimes, depending on your budget, sometimes like with the facility that I used, they can either do it in rooms or they can do it in theater. If they're doing it in theater, it's more expensive than if they're doing it in the rooms. But either way, guys, it's bad. So they do it for you. You will be actually under anesthesia. So anesthesia, sometimes it depends. They do what they call full anesthesia, or is it half? I don't know, because it's like you're not fully, that one, don't do it. Don't do it. Better you do full anesthesia, where you just wake up and you deal with the pain later. So now once they do all that, based obviously on what's happening, then they can tell you that, okay, so they just don't start with saying, no, we are starting with IVF. No. So for example, if you've had that hysteroscopy and, you know, they've scraped up your uterus, they are happy, they will tell you you need about 3 months to heal, right? So in those 3 months, you may be taking medication like hormones, so that sometimes you don't go for your period, or that you go for period, or manage, you know, regulate your period. So with IVF, especially it's a full IVF, a lot of ladies, they actually put on contraceptive. It will be for 3 months. So you wonder, I'm trying to get a child and you're putting me on on contraceptives. How does that help me? The contraceptive actually helps you because they want to regulate your menstrual cycle. So you are put on 3 months for that, and then after that, then you start your treatment. The treatment of IVF, guys, so it will be injections. They will tell you everything. You will come with those bags of medication, but they will tell you how to administer your injections. If you are scared, your partner will be injecting those injections on you. So you do take the injections for, I think it's 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, because the purpose of those injections is actually to try and do, hey guys, I'm not even forgetting the terms. So what they're trying to do basically is to make sure that your ovaries, they produce more eggs. Remember, you release one egg in a month, but this time they want you to produce more eggs, because with IVF, remember, they're dealing with the eggs. So now you take those pills, and then after some time they will know that, okay, so this is the time whereby you're about to have your period, because remember, they time everything. So with IVF, they really time everything. It's a timing game. So now, once you're taking all that, sometimes you can even feel you will have you will not be able to sit properly, because of course you've got a lot of these eggs. What are eggs, guys? Ovaries. Are they ovaries? I don't know, guys, but you've got eggs. You have so much eggs, and then you can really be struggling to sit. And then when now you are ready, they will tell you to take one injection that prevents you from going for your period, and then you take that injection for a certain period, a certain time. Then you go to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, they will do what they call extraction. So extraction is whereby now they are harvesting the eggs. That process, you do it again under anesthesia. I remember when I when I had that process. So I'm someone who's so weird, so I really enjoy medical procedures. So I went in, and the lady came. I was sleeping, and actually I was on the bed, obvious everything. I was so excited. And when I went on the bed, then she came. She's like, okay, so this is what's gonna happen. I hope you understand what. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to put you to sleep. So tell me if you can hear me. So she's talking, and then she says, so this one is gonna take you to sleep, guys. Like that, I was gone. Like I was gone. And that time I was telling myself, I'm not going to sleep. I will make sure I want to watch everything. Then I went to sleep. Ta-da! By the time I woke up, I remember waking up, guys, and there was this so they said that, okay, so when I wake up, I'm like, what happened? And they told me that, okay, so now it's done, what. I was like, okay. They said, no, you need to rest. I said, no, it's fine, I can, husband is here, so I'll just go with the car, what. I said, no, but you need to rest. So I stood up, guys. I screamed. I've never felt so much pain in my entire life. That pain was gruesome pain. Like, I don't know. You can't sit, you can't stand, you can't sleep, you can't. That was the worst thing in my life. When I went in the car, I could not sit, I could not do. I remember that like yesterday. So after the harvesting of the eggs, then they do the fertilization on the same day, because when you are harvesting the eggs, your husband will be called in, and they will collect the sperm, and then they wash the sperm. After washing the sperm, they take the good sperms, and then they take your good eggs. So what happens now with the eggs is this thing, right? So for some people, they really struggle, because depending on your age and your egg reserve. So sometimes you can go through that process only to produce one egg or sometimes 2 eggs. But what I realized with IVF, it's a numbers game. So what happens is, like, sometimes you just need to produce so many eggs. Like let's say you produce 26 eggs, right? You produce 26 eggs. On those 26 eggs, they will tell you that maybe 13 of those eggs, they are good quality, and they are going to fertilize them. Then they fertilize the 13 eggs. Then they will tell you that maybe for the 13 eggs, maybe the 6 eggs got to day 3, and from those 6 eggs, maybe 4 eggs will get to day 5. So at the end of the day, you will remain with what? You will have five embryos. Now from those 5 embryos, now they will go, if you want, they can do genetic testing to tell you the genders, as well as to grade them in terms of quality, A grade, B grade, what. Then with the facility that I use, they always prefer a frozen embryo transfer. Sometimes you do fresh embryo. First time we did fresh embryo, the second time we did frozen embryo transfer. So what it means is that they can only keep your embryos to day 5 or day 6. Then after that, if you are testing your embryos for genetic and sometimes it depends. If you are over 40 or 36, they will recommend that you do genetic testing to test for any other whatever, I don't know how to call them. But if you're young, and if you don't want, it's a choice, you can choose not to. So then they will freeze your eggs. So when they freeze your eggs, you can wait. Sometimes if you've got some other treatment that you need to do, they will tell tell you to wait until your next cycle. Or if, for example, you're doing further treatment, they can even say you wait for 3 months or whatever. Then after that time, when you've waited and you are ready, then they start preparing you for an embryo transfer. Again, there are some injections that you'll be taking to prepare your uterus, which is to thicken your uterus lining. So they'll be going in to do scans to check if your uterus lining is for that centimeters that they want. Because remember, the whole thing is like the embryo has to implant, so it has to stick to your uterus. So they would be doing those measurements. So if you reach the right measurements, then you can go and then they will transfer the embryo. So sometimes they will transfer 2 embryos just so that, you know, if you're lucky, 2 of the embryos they will implant, but if it's not, 1 will implant. Some will push for 3, but they always tell you that, you know, those multi whatever, they are quite risky. And after implanting your embryo, then you go home and they will tell you, if you pray, this is the time for you to pray so that God give you grace, because there's nothing we can do in this time. And then you go home, you wait for 2 weeks. That week, you call it a 2-week wait. It's the worst, guys. It's the worst. There you're waiting, and then after your 2 weeks, they will tell you a date where you go and have blood test. When you go do blood test, then they will confirm whether you're pregnant or not. The fertility clinic will call you to tell you that you are pregnant. If you are indeed pregnant, they will tell you to go again after 72 hours, do another one. By that time, your SCG levels should have tripled. Then they know the pregnancy is tripled or doubled. Then they will know the pregnancy is actually viable. Then after that, they will tell you when to come for your scan. And then when you go for a scan, you'll be able to see your embryo and to see the heartbeat. And then you start your journey as a first-time mom, if I can say that. So basically, that's the plan, guys. That's the process of IVF. I will do another video where I will take you through each and every part. If you have got questions, feel free, guys. Feel free to reach out to me, and then I'll do a video explaining, especially with regards to IVF journey in South Africa. So we're going to be talking about best practice, like what I did, especially with the first one, with the second one, because the first one had failed. I didn't want the second one to fail. So I will tell you all about my journey in terms of faith, in terms of the things that I had to do, change of lifestyle, what did I do to make sure that at least this time the embryo will stick. So I will also be sharing that the foods that I ate, the lifestyle that I adopted, the scriptures that I used to meditate on, so that if you are on this journey, I just want you to know that, you know, you can feel free, you can reach out to me, we can walk on the journey together. So guys, see you in the next video. Bye.